A warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked security chiefs to investigate the various security attacks around the country, especially the Wednesday attack on the Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center, and ensure that such never happened again anywhere in the country. The president expressed deep concern about these developments and had summoned an urgent meeting with the nation's Security Council to review the situation of security in the country, particularly as it relates to the various security issues that have happened within the last 2 weeks. Minister of Police Affairs Mohammed Megari Dengyadi described the meeting as successful.
Agreed to take proactive measures that will ensure that a repeat of what happened these few days will not be witnessed anymore. Mr. President is surprised that what happened in Kuje actually took place in spite of all the security arrangements that have been made to ensure that such an incident does not happen. We are assuring the nation and Nigerians in general that arrangements have been made to ensure that full investigations are carried out and to ensure that a repeat of the incidences will not occur. The service chiefs have been given very clear directives to ensure that adequate measures are taken, not only to investigate what happened, but also to take steps to forestall the occurrence of such instances. We call on Nigerians to continue to support the federal government in the efforts to ensure that we fight criminalities to finish and to ensure that this country is brought back to normalcy in a more secured and a more peaceful atmosphere. We are moving towards 2023 and government is committed to ensuring that there is peace, tranquility, that will ensure a very credible, a very peaceful and transparent elections in Osun State come early next week.
When asked if anyone had been indicted or arrested concerning the Kuje incident, the minister urged Nigerians to be patient as further action will be taken when investigation is concluded.
Nigerians are eager to know the actions that are going to be taken, but you see some of these things are security tied. You do not need to give out the details of what you are going to do, but we will just assure Nigerians that we are on top of the situation and we will be doing the needful.
Moving away from security, from Dakar, we hear President Muhammadu Buhari has secured a funding commitment of $3.5 billion to Nigeria from the International Development Association of the World Bank in support of economic and human capital development projects. The amount is the highest allocation to any country by the World Bank institution as part of the implementation of its 20th replenishment cycle beginning this month till the end of June 2025. This was at the International Development Association for Africa Summit just ended in Dakar, Senegal. But let's get the details from State House correspondent Adam Sambo.
For us, the interest is how can we be part of an accelerator in the individual countries? For example, the West African Power Pool. How can we actually, through our operations, support and increase that ambition?
Regarded as a partner of choice in Africa, the International Development Association has earmarked a support facility of $93 billion for countries hard hit by current global crisis occasioned by climate change, COVID-19, growing levels of food insecurity, and the impact of the war in Ukraine. This is to enable them not only have a resilient recovery and their economies transformed, but also grow more quickly, equitably, and sustainably. 70% of the amount is allocated to about 40 African countries.
For Nigeria, we have been allocated a headroom of about 3.5 billion, and the intention is to apply the funds to the areas of most critical need as assessed by the heads of states and nations. It was agreed that energy sufficiency is a critical area, so is food security as well as human capital development. So that means it will help us to increase the energy sufficiency, support the poor and the vulnerable, and also help us to do more in terms of bridging the gap that we have in the education and health sectors.
President Muhammadu Buhari had in a closed session of the summit described the replenishment package of the IDA as a good sign of solidarity and trust between the World Bank, donor countries, as well as the low-income nations. Nigeria's priority, he emphasized, is to build the resilience of our economy and drive what he called jobs-rich growth, focusing on industrialization. This will be driven by backward integration and export development based on value addition to key commodities. The Nigerian leader was later conferred with the highest national honor of the Republic of Senegal, the National Order of the Senegal Lion, by President Macky Sall.
This award is a clear testament to the continued growth and the resilience of our bilateral relations, and also our solidarity at the sub-regional, regional, and global levels. We see our relationship with Senegal as a very special one, and will certainly continue to give it priority in the future.
President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The European Union has pledged to conclude negotiations with Nigeria on the readmission agreement that will facilitate legal migration. Members of the EU and Nigeria's delegation indicate that ongoing bilateral talks will impact positively on migration policies, among other challenges delaying the pact. Garba Natala reports.
Talks between Nigeria and the European Union on legal migration were stalled as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The discussions, which are supposed to produce the readmission agreement on migration, have now resumed, and the political will shown by both delegations has been identified as essential for the success of the proposed pact. Nigeria's ambassador to Belgium, Obina Onuru, reaffirmed Nigeria's determination to work closely with the EU to improve the migration policies.
We're also looking at the issue from a comprehensive perspective, in the sense that we not just talking about returns, we're also looking at how to ensure that also we provide access to legal migration, and then also for reintegration and other things attached to the exercise.
EU Ambassador to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Samuela Isopi, says a workable approach will be adopted in making EU's actions easier to fulfill the readmission agreement.
On migration and mobility, we also have programs to support migration governance in Nigeria, and to help address the root causes, and to help Nigeria manage also the reintegration of returnees.
As the EU and Nigerian delegations continue deliberations, both parties are expected to work out modalities on mutual concerns and shared values. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Right, let's turn to this significant day for the Muslims, one of Allah's benevolent mercies in the last month of the Islamic lunar calendar, Dhul Hijjah, to mankind is the gift of the Arafat Day. Abdullah Ajia in this report examines its significance in the Islamic faith as the largest religious gathering in the world returns after the COVID-19 pandemic which truncated this important religious obligation for 2 years. Let's see that.
Arafat is the name of a mountain that has a vast area of plain land around where Muslims on pilgrimage gather and spend the 9th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah in the Islamic calendar. The day remains sacred and virtuous for Muslims. This gathering of Muslims on Arafat Day, termed Urul al-Arafat, is the fundamental pillar of the pilgrimage, without which the entire pilgrimage remains invalid.
That Al-Hajju Arafah. So what we call Hajj is for you to be at the playing ground of that Arafah.
While at Arafat, pilgrims combine the 2 noon prayers, which they observe at the same time from dawn to dusk. Pilgrims engage in intensive prayers and supplications as Allah specially answers the request of his servants. The devil is reduced to nothing, dislodged and frustrated, which is why in solidarity, non-pilgrims all over the world fast voluntarily on the day of Arafat.
Allah has forgiven the past sins of last year, even the ones that are not committed. And if somebody wants to argue this out, Allah has done that for the Prophet.
Historically, Arafat is believed to be the place where Prophet Adam and Hawa, Eve, united after they were sent down to earth. It was also on Arafat Day that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, delivered his famous valedictory sermon during his farewell pilgrimage.
The farewell message of the Prophet is a summary of Islam. We are always urged, especially Muslims, to always practicalize this. And we need to start right from our various groups. How do we treat our wives? How do we treat our children? How do we treat our neighbors left and right? When the Prophet ﷺ emphatically made mention of neighbors, so happy I am each time I remember that. He never mentioned religion. He never mentioned tribe or language. He said, be good to your neighbors.
Another spiritual significance of the Arafat Day is its being a day that Allah redeems his servants who keep the day solemn and renew spiritual commitment from hellfire like no other day. Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
More on the significance of the day, our Sokoto Network Center had a studio discussion with the head of Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies, Sokoto State University, Dr. Jabir Meula, on the spiritual gains of the day, which heralds Eid al-Adha. Let's see the excerpt.
Things that are done on this day is visitation. We call one another on phone, and the fact that we are celebrating one thing in a single day world over enough signifies the importance of unity and intensifies the importance of unity. So my call is that we shall abandon our differences. We shall not make them the object. We shall not make them the subject. We shall try and as much as we can to unite one another, to tolerate one another, to be considerate of one another, and also to practicalize the lessons we learn from this Eid al-Adha.
Nigerian pilgrims we know are in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia performing this significant day, talking about the Arafat Day, that holds a collective special supplication on behalf of the country and other people who are there also for their countries. Lydia Sampson brings us details of this and other kinds of conversations on Arafat and its significance, talking about the Eid al-Adha on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria.
Yusuf Umar, NTA correspondent, is among millions of other pilgrims from around the world performing this year's pilgrimage. Speaking as guest on Good Morning Nigeria, Yusuf says it is his first Hajj experience and is excited about it.
It's been a very unique experience, especially for the Nigerian pilgrims First, when you consider the number of pilgrims, initially the Nigerian pilgrims, like the last Hajj, Nigeria had over 90,000 pilgrims. Well, this time around, they have only 43,000 pilgrims.
In addition to other very significant Hajj rites performed by pilgrims on Arafat Day, Yusuf says that Nigerian pilgrims have also dedicated a special prayer for the country.
Nigerian pilgrims' opportunity to pray hard for themselves, for their families, the nation, and for God to intervene in the present realities we are facing in our country.
Allah is telling us that every one of us, we are all equal before Almighty Allah, either irrespective of the tribe, culture, religion we belong to, we are all the same.
Applying the lessons learned from the pilgrimage to nation building, Ustaz Ahmed Murtalawasi said the country can leverage the huge economic benefit of Hajj for national development, while Imam Mustafa Abariri called for channeling of religious sermons on spirituality rather than mere prosperity.
Look at the significance of Eid al-Adha on the economy of Nigeria. We stand an opportunity to improve the economy of the rural communities. Our young men can come in and participate in goats rearing, sheep and cattle.
Let there be a ministry of religion where our prophets and our clerics, our malams will be examined. Let's put a Google to search into their life whether they merit to become Muslim leaders or Christian leaders. We don't do that.
All respondents agree that Muslims in Nigeria should emulate the example of Prophet Ibrahim in willing to sacrifice his son. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
And we join our correspondent live from Saudi Arabia, Umar Yusuf. Actually, yeah, it's his first time, performing the Hajj exercise. Yusuf, I'm sure you've had interaction with some of the Nigerian pilgrims there at Saudi. What would you tell us, are the areas of focus? I know they're offering supplications.
Thank you very much, thank you for having me last year from Arafat in Makkah. The main focus of today's special prayer organized by NACON is to bring unity, cohesion, peace and harmony among the Nigerians. And as well, another focus of the prayer is on the need to Nigeria to have a peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections, and as well as have good leadership at all levels.
Okay, Umar, it's actually not Hawa, it's Ruth talking to you right now. What would be for the pilgrims talking about their itinerary after the prayers? What is expected of them afterwards?
Their expectation is that since this is a place where all prayers are being answered immediately, so they are full of hope that the special prayers will help a lot in addressing a lot of challenges affecting Nigeria, especially security, so that we will have a return of peace in the country, as well as you have a peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections, which is the next thing we are doing.
All right, Umar, thank you very much for your time with us on the news. Thank you, and wish you the best and all Nigerians there performing the Hajj.
Thank you very much, Rusa. Thanks for having me.
All right. And for security for the Eid al-Adha, 36,000 regular and special marshals, about 750 patrol vehicles, 120 ambulances, 25 tow truck, and over 200 bikes have been mobilized by the Federal Road Safety Corps for special operation during the Salah festivities. Corps Public Education Officer BC Kazim made this known while speaking on the Corps' preparedness for the Eid al-Kabir celebration, reiterating that this will curb crashes and gridlocks nationwide. Oyemi Ajayi reports.
Celebration already in top gear as Muslim faithful spread the joy of Eid al-Kabir. It is also an opportunity to visit loved ones, including people of other faiths. Now, the roads and highways become the theater of activities, as many will be traveling across the country for the holiday. Jabi Park, one of the major interstate parks in the FCT, is alive with activities, but of concern is safety on the roads, especially overspeeding, which brings to mind the compliance with speed limiting device by commercial drivers, who are the major culprits of overspeeding.
Looking at speeding, mainly we want to emphasize on phone on wheels. We were there to enforce the law mostly. Enforcement, public education, we go peri passu and we persuade our people.
Motorists are also advised to be road safety conscious and see the next vehicle on the road as that of one's family or relative. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Well, while some were able to make it for the Hajj, some others couldn't, despite assurances by the National Hajj Commission to airlift all registered pilgrims for the 2022 Hajj. Any hope of making that trip has, however, been dashed for thousands of pilgrims who went through tour operators. Abdullahi Musa Suleja was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, where he felt the pulse of some of the affected pilgrims. Let's see that for them.
Since the 2022 Hajj operation was unveiled, both pilgrims and observers expressed misgivings on the Hajj-free exercise. The airlift of the pilgrims had been inconsistent, indicating uncertainties. But the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, consistently insisted that there was no cause for alarm. However, fear was to the closure of the Saudi airport for the second time. The faces of a number of pilgrims at the Abuja airport who were going through tour operators via conventional scheduled flights showed their anguish, sorrow and disappointment.
Many people are still in Kano as I'm talking now.
Of course it's dashed. 2 days ago the chairman walked out. We had paid in full for the rescue.
It's been assurance after assurance, and until this minute, still no hope.
We have not seen anything positive.
We are now using 30 days for here now, without any accommodation, without any food.
What we are facing today, I would say some of us encounter a lot of problem, right from seat allocation down to the payment of money into our IBAN account. All the deadline they gave us in respect of all payment, we were able to meet up.
A release issued by the spokesman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Hajia Fatima Sanda Osara, on the outbound journey, blamed two of the airlines for failure to provide big capacity aircraft, while the one contracted to airlift pilgrims who came through the tour operators reneged on the terms of the contract. The Commission has pledged to address all issues after the entire Hajj exercise. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
The Court-Martial of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has congratulated all Muslim faithfuls, urging them to ensure full compliance with traffic rules as they celebrate Eid al-Kabir. The Court-Martial called on the Muslim Ummah to be wary of bad driving habits by obeying all established rules and regulations guiding use of roads in Nigeria. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission will continue to explore more holy sites around the world so as to provide alternative for Nigerian pilgrims in order for them to perform their pilgrimage obligations. Umenka Amarachuku reports that the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, made this known while briefing the media on the activities of the Commission in the ongoing pilgrimage activities in Israel and Jordan.
We are actually working to make a package for agriculture because the Turkey government is working very hard with us to see that we establish training for our youth, and it's going to be like a youth pilgrimage with economic backing it up. So we will work on that one, and we're already working with not only the Christian youth at this point, we bring in Nigerian youths so that they will benefit from that.
The Commission, which has been able to carry out its maiden 2020 pilgrimage and the 2021/2022 main Easter pilgrimage exercise to Israel and Jordan, will round off the spiritual exercise by the end of August this year. We'll take a breather here as we head to Lagos to join Adeola. She'll pick up with other reports from there.
The
Day of Arafat reminds Muslim Ummah of Allah's unconditional love to his subjects and the importance of absolute obedience to all of his instructions through righteous living. Beyond Allah's show of kindness to mankind, what are the lessons of Arafat and how can they reflect in building sustainable, peaceful coexistence? Abolade Salami in this report sought the opinion of Islamic scholars and now reports.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Arafat, which is the 9th day of the Hijjah in the Islamic calendar, is a day and month Muslim faithful the world over seeks Allah's benevolence to witness, owing to the junction of Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, where he promised Muslim Ummah on the completion of favor upon Muslims and approval of Islam as a religion. While the day is observed as significant for every devout Muslims, it also creates room for deeper understanding of Allah's love to his offsprings.
The Prophet ﷺ says that there is no other day on the surface of the earth that sins have been forgiven than the day of Arafah.
In an act of submission to Allah's instructions, believers who are on Hajj exercise to Mecca are to converge on the mountain plain of Arafat this day to pray and renew their faith in the Prophet, while other Muslim Ummah who are not on pilgrimage are to seek his face through fasting and prayer.
It's a day that we need to pray for our nation. It's a day that we need to call on Allah to continue to help our nation. We need to pray that the next political dispensation will be a successful one.
Muslim scholars say this day reminds faithful of Allah's promises to forgive misdeeds, unfaithfulness, and free people from the suffering of hellfire.
So it was on that day that Allah revealed that today the religion is perfect. My favor has been completed upon you, and I, Allah, am pleased with Islam as a religion for you. So to show you, Allah sanctioned this religion, and it was on the day of Arafah that this event happened.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, admonished Muslims on this day of Arafat dua to remember that there is nothing that deserves to be worshipped in truth except Allah. This obligation, Muslim faithful have been urged to adhere to strictly in the act of true worship to Allah by shunning all forms of vices that may cause civil unrest in the country. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
In lieu of the Salah celebration, motorists plying the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and its environs have been warned against violation of traffic regulations, especially during and after the Eid al-Kabir celebration, as the Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Command has deployed personnel and equipment on the roads to control traffic. The sector commander, Lagos Command of the FRSC, Corps Marshal Olusegun Ogungbemide, stated this while leading his men to control traffic on Lagos roads.
Worried by the alarming statistics of accidents on Lagos roads, particularly during festivities, which has been attributed to excessive speeding by drivers to meet deadlines, the Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Command is leaving no stone unturned in ensuring safety of motorists and passengers who will be traveling in and out of the state during the Eid al-Kabir celebration.
They should not say because they want to make money, quick money here and there, so they can fight. Instead of 100 kilometers, they raise it to 120, 150. It's not the best.
They should consider people's lives. To this end, the sector commander, FRSC, in company of his personnel, went on surveillance patrol to ensure free flow of traffic on Lagos roads.
I have more than 2,000 both regular and special marshals deployed. I have about 57 patrol vehicles deployed. I have 3 ambulances. These are the equipments that have been deployed to assist in moving the traffic within this period.
He also cautioned motorists to drive with utmost care to avoid road traffic crashes as there are ongoing road constructions. The FRSC believes that with the support of motorists and passengers, the incidences of road crashes experienced during festivities would to a large extent be reduced. In Lagos, Ruth Ariel Samuel, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Do not forget you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. The news will continue with Muhammad in Maiduguri after this break.
Appear before it over a default of 1% remittances to the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring. This followed the non-appearance of some of the companies invited to Thursday's investigative hearing. John Yako will bring us the details.
Nigeria Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act 2010 provides for a 1% remittance to the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring by some companies to increase local capacity and knowledge transfer within the oil and gas industry. Reported failure to comply with this provision formed this investigative hearing by the House of Representatives Committee overseeing the sector. Only 4 out of 8 companies invited appeared, which made the chairman of the committee, Lego Idago, to issue the ultimatum, noting that the intent of the act will be defeated if the 1% remittance of the contract awarded for project operation, activity or transaction in the upstream sector of the Nigerian oil and gas industry is not complied with.
Matter of fact, some of these companies have collected these deductions from their subcontractors and have failed to remit same to NCDMB. So you cannot be doing your business in Nigeria and fail to remit what you're meant to remit to NCDMB. If we continue like this, how do we encourage our local contractors? How does NCDMB meet their goals? How does NCDMB succeed in encouraging local contractors to thrive?
The committee directed the companies to appear on Thursday 14th and Friday 15th next week to explain their actions. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
The second half of this year will ensure that the Child's Right Act is not only domesticated by all the states, but implemented to safeguard the well-being of every Nigerian child. This was the resolve of the National Child Rights Implementation Committee when they met to review the policy in Abuja. Momso Damian Deti reports.
Seated here are the members of the National Child Rights Implementation Committee, selected from diverse civil society organizations, ministries, departments and agencies.
Promotion and protection of the rights of the Nigerian child.
Their mandate is to ensure
every state in the country is supposed to have a state child rights implementation committee. We want our partners to understand the situation of children, become advocates, and to be committed to protecting the rights of children. Close to 13 million children are out of school in this country. You hear a lot of rape, you hear a lot of incest. These are some of the things that we want to look at.
It's not only the domestication of the Child Right Act at the state level, but proper implementation of what the act entails. And without that committee that will ensure that the proper implementation, we find out that we'll end up just doing paperwork without proper implementation of the document that we worked on as a country, whereby the aim will be defeated, particularly the protection of children.
So far, 31 states in Nigeria have domesticated the child rights law. In Abuja, Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
No doubt the security challenges currently facing the country have remained a source of concern to many. These challenges are sometimes blamed on laxity by security agencies arising from alleged centralized structure. To make the country safe, a public discourse is ongoing in Abuja to examine the possibility of decentralizing the Nigerian police force to ensure better performance. Olabode Arewa reports.
That was a scene from the attack on the Kuje Medium Correctional Center in Abuja, where some inmates escaped from custody with the assistance of bandits. With such security breaches, as well as President Muhammadu Buhari's view that the situation should be curtailed to prevent future occurrence, some Nigerians aver that slow response by security agents sometimes makes crime successful. Present at this conference in Abuja are technocrats in policy formulation to re-examine the link between centralization of policing and the poor outcome of many security operations.
Let us embark on all of society approach. Security is not just about shooting people, it's not just about weapons, it's also about creating opportunities so that every Nigerian will have a sense of belonging. The issue of injustice, let's begin to address it.
Although the forum frowned at private people bearing arms for self-defense, they want the public to always volunteer intelligence for security agencies.
If you allow the centralization of the police, that same mischief of the First Republic will still stop it.
Decentralization is necessary, but must be properly structured.
The outcome of the deliberation is expected to form the basis for recommending amendments of legal instruments that will engender an efficient security system for Nigeria. In Abuja, Olabodarewa, NTA News.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, says for the Nigerian Air Force to meet its constitutional role of protecting the territorial integrity of Nigeria, competent commanders are required at all levels to provide the requisite leadership. Air Marshal Amao stated this during a lecture at the Nigerian Air Force War College Course 8 in Makurdi, Benue State. Ashezi Gopep reports.
In a lecture titled Strategic Leadership in a Complex Security Environment, My Perspective, the Air Chief outlined that effectiveness in all military operations is key in safeguarding Nigeria's territorial space. He noted that the course is designed to enhance intellectual capacity of participants in the implementation of effective leadership skills in strategic military operations.
The Nigerian Air Force of the future must be advanced and robust enough to adequately contend with contemporary threats and challenges. It must be able to consistently support the national security and development aspirations of the nation. I can remember when last I received a pragmatic, painstaking, and comprehensive lecture like this.
In Makurdi, Ashezi Gopep, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Ibadan to join Kemi. She's ready for us.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Ibadan. Various activities are involved in the celebration of any festivity. This is evident as Muslim Ummah prepare for year 2022 Eid al-Kabir. Kayode Oladushi visited some motor parks and markets within Ibadan metropolis and brought back a situation report.
A visit to market showed patronage of rams and other consumables associated with the festival.
Prices are beyond comprehension.
It's just a minor increase for Ileya festival.
In the same vein, travelers from various motor parks across Ibadan metropolis for movement to different destinations. Motorists claim that the transport fare is not on the high side, but scarcity of fuel with long queues resurfacing at filling stations has reduced the vehicular activities on the roads. Passengers, however, have contrary opinions on transport fares.
We are taking it as we have taken it before because there is no fuel. You see, there is no petrol in garage.
They have increased their fare. From here, from this place, the toll gate is 500. Toll gate used to be 200.
Unlike what we used to pay before, we paid one.
With lots of vehicular movement before and during the festival, concerned authority appealed to those users to obey traffic rules and regulations.
We are using this period to advise the general probably most especially the drivers to shun alcohol, anything that can affect their driving. This period they should just make sure that they do away from it.
It is therefore expected of all and sundry to celebrate the feast in line with Islamic injunction. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladushi, NTA News.
Empowering women and closing gender gaps in the world of work are necessary towards achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Wives of Oyo, Lagos and Ondo State Governor alongside relevant stakeholders converged in Ibadan to deliberate on high-level policy to address women economic empowerment in southwest Nigeria. Corresponding to Rafia Animation Badmos has more.
Analyzing women economic empowerment projects in southwest Nigeria for 2021-2022, wives of Oyo, Lagos and Ondo state governors, represented by top government functionaries, said women can be empowered through programs aimed at enhancing agricultural productivity, training on wealth creation, and aspiring to hold political office could help.
It is very imperative that women should be developed so that Nigeria will ever be referred to as a developed state.
Part of the mandate of Partnership for Advancing Women in Economic Development is to increase the importance of women's economic empowerment and discuss successes and challenges from implementing women's economic empowerment to equip women in chosen fields and aspire for political positions.
For them to be provided ease of doing business, and then for them to be provided adequate and timely funds, for them to be able to have enough funds to improve their socio-economic well-being.
That we need more advocacy. These women need to be aware of their right and their position in the society.
Recommendations were made on ways to ensure specific funding in the appropriation law targeting women economic empowerment in Ibadan. Rafia Animation Badmos, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan.
Welcome back to Abuja. I'm afraid we can join Zenret in Jos due to loss of signal. Okay, I hear she's back, so let's join her.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Jos. The 3 Division of the Nigerian Army has reached out to its immediate community through free medical outreach as part of activities to commemorate the Nigerian Army Day celebration. Priscilla Grumnan reports that the event held at Miango, Basa local government area of Plateau State.
The theme of this year's celebration is repositioning the Nigerian Army in the joint operations environment, a panacea for success in addressing contemporary security challenges. The day showcases the commitment of the Nigerian Army over the years as a professional responsive force. To celebrate this milestone, the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army is conducting series of medical screening for communicable and non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, HIV, dental procedure, eye examination, among others, in the community.
I was thinking nothing will come to this place like this because of this crisis that we face. But now I'm happy.
The General Officer Commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali represented, says as the Nigerian Army deploys tactful and mediatory means to resolve conflicts, citizens should furnish the military with useful information to address security challenges.
We will continue to make sacrifices for the country to remain peaceful, safe, and united for everyone. We are very grateful and next year we will be more than this one.
Similarly, the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association also identified with the less privileged at the Plateau Specialist Hospital as they presented cash to some patients and food items to orphanage. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
And ahead of the trial census, the National Population Commission is soliciting the cooperation of security agencies in Plateau State for a successful exercise. This was at a trial census meeting with heads of security agencies in Jos. Indenyang and Abuja has details.
Out of the 17 local government areas of Plateau State, 9 have been selected for the trial census. They include Lantan North, Pangshin, Basa, and Kwampan. The rest are Shandam, Bokos, Baikiladi, Mangu, and Jos East. The National Population Commission says it has carried out adequate training and sensitization towards successful conduct of the exercise, calling on security agencies in the state to assist the Commission for a hitch-free exercise.
We felt that if we meet with you and discuss with you and ask you to help us speak to your other officers at the local government levels so that they will give us support. They will be there for us when the security need arises.
They have given us assurance that they would communicate to their men down the line, and this will make the exercise seamless.
The trial census begins from 11th to 30th of this month in Jos, Indenyan, and the Abuja. NTA News.
That's our package from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja for more.
Thank you, Zenrent. On behalf of the government and people of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari extends heartfelt condolences to the family of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and to the government and people of Japan in the wake of the gruesome assassination of Mr. Abe. In a statement, the president joined the Japanese in mourning the loss of the country's longest-serving prime minister and outstanding leader, assuring the family of Abe of the prayers and thoughts of all Nigerians during this difficult time, recalling Abe's unwavering commitment to strengthening trade and investment between Africa and Japan. Through the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, President Buhari affirms that under the former Prime Minister, Nigeria and Japan enjoyed a strategic partnership and praised that the memory of the Japanese statesman and respected international leader will be a blessing to all nations. A political group called the Followers of Jagaban has urged Nigerians to sustain support for the governing All Progressives Congress during the 2023 general elections for continuity and progress of the nation. The group, mainly made up of young progressives, appealed to Nigerians to be tolerant of one another and vote APC for consolidation and development.
The Jagaban group is the only presidential candidate with the widest acceptability within and outside the country, who knows what to do to put an end to insecurity and stabilize the economy.
Meanwhile, the Arewa Youth Group has appealed to citizens to come out en masse to vote for credible leaders that have the interests of the country at heart.
To make a U-turn, we need to change. Change starts from us. Insulting a leader is not the best. You, as a youth, you can change by starting from yourself.
The body says unless Nigerians bury their different imaginary lines and embrace unity, the enemies will continue to disturb public peace and destroy national assets. That's nationwide. Thank you very much for your company. But do remember that your support is required if we must win the fight against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.